Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
I hear you too, buddy.
Oh, oops. How are you, Landau?
I'm good, Jacob. How you doing? Happy New Year, man. I hope it's been great for you.
Happy New Year to you. Well, you know, I started this, and I so,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my South Jersey journey. I'm Jacob Hackett, your host. My guest today. I followed him for about 4 years. He's the season 6 winner of America's Got Talent. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Landau Eugene Murphy Jr.
Hey, thanks, Jacob. Thanks, man. How
Thank,
you doing?
thank you for being here. Happy New Year. How have things been? I gave you, I sent your team last night a, a copy of some of the things we'll talk about. Just a rough, like, to give you an idea. I mean, I did that with a couple people and things ran smoothly. So let's get started. So tell for those of us and the viewers watching this that don't know you, how how tell us about yourself, where you came from.
I come from a small town of Logan, West Virginia. I was born there in 1974. By the time I was 11 years old, my parents split. My mom moved me from West Virginia to Detroit, so I grew up, from like 11 to maybe 26 years of age in Detroit, Michigan. And so it was a rough life, it was a lot of gangs, violence, and 84 was the crack boom era, so I had to adapt to a whole new lifestyle. And by the time I was 17, half my friends were in prison or dead. And, I ended up being homeless around the age of 19 or 20. And it was really rough for me. But, God had a wonderful plan for my life. He gave me a whole lot of blessings, a whole lot of talents and gifts. So I used to cut hair to keep money in my pocket. I would cut like everybody's hair in the neighborhood. So I was making like $500 a week as a guy sleeping in his car, but and I played a lot of sports. I grew up, with around Chris Webber, the guy from Fab Five in Michigan. His father was my deacon at Rosedale Park Baptist Church, Macy Webber, and so I watched Chris Webber go from just being a regular inner city kid to an NBA superstar. But he also showed me that you never forget where you come from. So he was the type, once he made it, he came back to the neighborhood, would pick me up, and we would go into the inner cities and pass out school supplies to kids and backpacks and coats and things like that. So, I mean, that's something that stuck with me for a long time. And as soon as I got my shot, after, being at the bottom of the barrel, I kind of took like some of my gifts and started doing shows for the homeless shelters and abused children, abused women, veterans, retirement homes, things like that. And snowboard, it was the way that God was grooming me the whole time. And by the time I realized it, I had moved back to West Virginia, and I started looking around. There was nothing like it was when I left here. There was a lot of, the opioid epidemic had hit pretty bad here in my hometown. And I just looked around and was wondering, like, how, what happened? And okay, what do I do to, make this a better environment? So I started using my talents to do charity events around there too. Like, and I did this weekend program, and that was a program that raised money for less fortunate kids and things like that. Sent them to camps, And so I started being on this little program doing songs for them, and then I ended up doing the vaudeville show, which is like a variety show of some sort here in Logan County. And but they wouldn't let me get on stage. And they, I don't know why, but they would never let me get on stage. But I went behind the guy's back and talked to the main person, and she actually let me on stage at another function, which was the Arts and Crafts Festival. Once I did the Arts and Crafts Festival, I won this like a talent contest. I was singing Frank Sinatra and Motown and hip hop and R&B, soul, blues, jazz, but Frank Sinatra stuff stood out so much. I ended up winning this contest, and she actually put me in the vaudeville shows and the weekend program. So I ended up being on those stages. Another way God was grooming me, put me in front of these bigger audiences. And then one at one point in my life, I was away doing some charity stuff, and somebody went in my house and robbed my house. They took all the copper out of my walls, all my clothes, all my furniture, and everything that I've ever worked for. And and it was a sad moment. I was very angry. I was hurt because I didn't bother anybody. I was just trying to do good in my community, but it seemed like the community had done bad to me. And so I was very upset. And I took, those thoughts and I said to myself, okay, since everybody wants to be bad, I'm going to be bad. But no, God had another plan. He came into my life and said, all you need is a bigger stage. You've been performing for your friends and family since you were like 3 years old. You just need a bigger stage. And I was sitting in my mother-in-law's room at that time. Well, one of the rooms that she had let me stay in because my house had got robbed. So the television went to a commercial, and it was Howie Mandel, and he was saying, "Are you the next winner of America's Got Talent? Do you have what it takes to headline your own show in Vegas? Are you our next $1 million prize? I am talking to you." And I was like, "What? Really?" It was like, "Is this the bigger stage?" Because throughout my life, a lot of people told me to go on a Star Search or the Apollo or Def Comedy Jam, things like that. And the reason they told me to go on Def Comedy Jam is because in my neighborhood, me sounding like Frank Sinatra was comedy. Everybody thought it was hilarious, but I had this one rich boss by the name of Paul Steele I was working for in the car wash and like at Chrysler. I was detailing cars for like the Detroit Auto Show and things like that, and for sale. They were selling cars and things like that. So, but I would put my headphones on and I would sing Frank Sinatra while I was doing it. And he kind of stood behind me and he was shaking his head. And I stood up and said, "What? Did I do something wrong?" He's like, "Why are you working for me?" I said, "What? Are you firing me? What did I do?" He's like, "No, I'm just saying you should be in Las Vegas somewhere. You shouldn't be working here." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Put my headphones on, kept singing. He was like, "No, I'm serious. Friday, you need to bring a change of clothes, you know, to work with you, and I'm gonna take you somewhere." So that Friday came around, I had to change clothes, got out of my uniform, put on my regular street clothes. He took me way out to the suburbs of Michigan. I think we went to a Mr. B's pub or something like that, an Irish pub. And I believe that's what it was. But he was like, "Okay, when we walk in here, people are going to look at you funny. It's going to be a weird situation for you. So just stick right here by my shoulder." And I did exactly that. I walked in exactly like he said. As soon as we walked in, the whole room stopped and looked around like, like, why is this guy in here? Because this is like upper class white, white people only. So I was the only colored guy in there, and I'm just sitting there. And he said, "Sit right here. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go talk to the MC. Let me get a microphone, and when I come back, I want you to just start singing." And I got nervous. I was like, "Yeah, right." He was like, "No, I'm serious. Just do it. I'm not gonna introduce you. So hand you the microphone. You start singing. I'm gonna show you what you had." And he did exactly that. He came back maybe 2, 3 minutes later with a microphone, a wireless mic, handed me the microphone right there at the bar. And I started singing Fly Me to the Moon. Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. And just like he said, the whole room stopped. Everybody dropped their forks. All the chatter stopped. All eyes were on me instantly. And when I finished, I got like a big round of applause. People started throwing money at me. They bought me all kind of drinks and everything. And I was just sitting there like, what? And he was standing over in the corner, just looking at me, shaking his head like, told you. But that was the first time that I realized that I can actually earn a living, singing these songs. I was basically just doing it from the heart and a lot of times I did it just to stop people from, having a shootout on the basketball court over a simple foul. So after I would dunk on somebody, instead of trash talking, I would say, fly me to the moon. So I'd be like, boom. And then I would come down and go, fly me to the moon. And, it made everybody laugh on the playground instead of, being embarrassed or arguing over a foul call or trash talking. So it was just another way, it was another outlet for me to stop a lot of violence. And it took me out of the stereotypical world, where people can just look at you and say, oh, this is what this guy is about. No, you got to figure me out a little bit deeper than that. So, and being from West Virginia, I'm not the average city boy anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm more of a country guy, and I grew up in the country, but I was born and raised in the country, but I grew up from 11 to like 26 in the city, so I'm city and country at the same time, but all of that combined into snowballing to the fact that once I got robbed, I turned it into a positive, signed up for America's Got Talent, and then season 6, I ended up winning the whole show. I got to sing with Patti LaBelle in my finale act, and then I ended it all with My Way. Won $1 million, won a record deal with Sony Columbia for a year, hosted Caesar's Palace for a year, but I opted out of that contract and came back home and started doing stuff for my community again. Did a whole world tour, um, and I've probably sold out maybe I say 400 to 500 shows. And I'm still doing it to this day. Since this pandemic hit, everything has slowed down. So I'm doing like virtual concerts. I just wrapped up my 10th annual Christmas tour, Home for the Holidays Christmas tour. This is my 10th annual, and it ended December the 23rd. It started on the 16th of December, and it ended December 23rd, 2020. And before all of that kicked off with this pandemic happening, I was in New York with Damiani and Novex Orchestra. We was doing shows in Times Square at the Run House, just enjoying life.
I remember seeing pictures of that on Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. For those of you that don't know, I'd seen Landau and we became friends and he came to Atlantic City the first time I met you. You came
yeah,
to Atlantic City with that dinner with Joe Piscopo and
yeah.
I, I still have such good memories of that night and how much fun that was.
Yeah, I still have all the photos that we took, and we were all at Oceans Resorts in Atlantic City, right there on the boardwalk. I mean, that was fun because the host, the actual owner of the resort, was a cool guy. He really believed in
Yeah,
all our
yeah.
talents.
He didn't he was at the dinner.
Yeah, he went out to
He was
dinner with
at
us.
our table. It was you, me, Damiani was there, Rachel. We were all there, and he sat at
Yep.
our table. He was just, and I said this to other people. He was just that. He made you feel like he meant as a, and uh, a couple. he made you feel good. He made you feel, and he may have been a businessman, but he didn't
Yeah,
act like, okay, I'm a businessman. Look at me,
right.
I've got money. He treated everyone with fairness and respect, and
Yeah,
and I was I was actually I remember clearly. I was I was at work and I had seen the article for the press of Atlantic City. Bruce had passed away. I I looked at that. I said, no, that's not right. And
right, right.
and because you know stuff like that you just don't believe. We were all just together over Christmas.
Yeah, he had so many big plans. I mean, we were about to actually do a whole residency there. And it was me, Dave Damiani, Maya Sykes, Joe Piscopo, Haley Reinhardt. I mean, we were all about to do this in Sal the Voice, and I mean, we're all about to do this huge, big residency there, and he had it all in plans and in works to actually happen. I mean, we was negotiating contracts and everything, but he passed away at a time where we were like just so happy to get ready to do all of this stuff, and it was tragic, man, because we just didn't expect that to happen with
Yeah,
with Bruce.
yeah. You mentioned AGT when I was asking you. Yeah, and we'll get to that in a moment. But what inspired you to to do all this? I know you mentioned the car wash and growing up, but was there one particular singer? I know you mentioned people in the open, but was there someone in the music, Sinatra, Sammy Davis, was there someone like that that said, okay, I think I can do this too?
It was Michael Jackson for me. Yeah, Michael Jackson. I mean, because I started off like I used to dance. I used to do like Michael Jackson stuff, like from my grade school all the way up to high school. I would win like every dance contest, you know, act just doing Michael Jackson. And as I grew older, the dance world kind of changed. It was like when you went to the clubs, people wasn't dancing anymore. Everybody was standing around. They were too cool for school. They were just standing there hard, mean mugging. So to dance was just, kind of weird after a while. It got weird. So I started singing a lot, and playing basketball. But yeah, it was Michael Jackson, and then you got Marvin Gaye was another one. Stevie Wonder was another one. Frank Sinatra came into my life without me realizing. He was more like he came in commercials or cartoons like Bugs Bunny or Merry Melodies. When the singing rooster would come out and sing to the chickens, they always had Frankie, Frankie, and he would come out, boom, 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 or Bing Crosby, and then the chickens would melt. You know what I mean? Like that's how I got into the whole Frank Sinatra thing. So you can blame that on Bugs Bunny and Merry Melodies, Looney Tunes, just all of those old school cartoons and Little Debbie's commercials, things like that. But in 1983, I was watching a Motown 25th anniversary special. That's the first time we ever seen Michael Jackson moonwalk on television.
I've seen video of that. That had the Jackson Five, the
Yeah,
Temptations, the Four Tops.
yeah. Temptations, Patti LaBelle, Joe Cocker, Luther Vandross, Boy George, the Marvelettes. It had everybody, the Miracles, Smokey Robinson, Billy Preston. I mean, everybody. But there was a segment in that show where they gave an award for a lifetime achievement award or something like that, and they showed a clip of Nat King Cole singing Mona Lisa Smile.
Oh,
And
I know. Smile, your heart is aching.
no, this was Mona Lisa.
Oh,
Mona
Mona Lisa, smile. That's another
Lisa.
version.
Yeah. He was singing that song, and Mona Lisa happens to be my mother's name. My mother's name is Mona Lisa Murphy. And I would sing that song to my mom after I saw that. And seeing that King Cole, it blew my mind because here's a man that was very classy. He just stood there in a suit. He had his hair slicked, and and he didn't have to dance. He didn't have to, gyrate his hips. He didn't have to do anything. He was just a classy man standing there singing these beautiful songs. And when I saw that, I was just like, wow, this is a cool thing right here. He's not sweating. He's just there. And that's what made me start listening to the Andy Williams and more of the Bing Crosbys and the Frank Sinatras and things like that. Because like I said, Bing Crosby hit my life only around Christmas. Every time I would hear like White Christmas on those infomercials. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. You would hear that like every holiday season.
Yeah, and what's funny, Christmas just happened, and we just you hear that, and I mean,
Yeah,
white, no matter what version you look at, Flag,
yeah,
Michael Bublé, the Bing
yeah.
Crosby version, though, that's a classic, Landau.
Yes, it is. And that's what I grew up hearing like every Christmas. And they put butterflies in my stomach, and I knew Santa Claus was coming. Like as soon as I heard Bing Crosby sing that song, so it was just all of those things, just a combination of all that throughout my life. But since this pandemic, I just been doing virtual stuff. Been doing a lot of Zoom interviews like this. Thank you for having me on here, and then I also took out the time to graduate from high school. I got my high school diploma after 30 years of being a high school dropout. I actually went back to school during this pandemic because it was a lot of downtime. I really didn't have anything else to do. So I painted a couple of rooms in my house, maybe like six of the rooms in my house. And then I went to school online, and I graduated high school. So I'm proud of that. And it's, trying to inspire other people to if you dropped out of high school, if you're watching, just never give up and never think that it's too late for you to go back. And and I did that also myself, but I buckled down and I knocked it out, and I'm proud of it. So yeah, if you dropped out of high school, go back and get it. It's worth it. And probably now I'm going to take some college courses, get my associate's degree, business degree, or something like that. And and just always share these stories with other people to try and inspire them to do great things.
Yeah, and I mean, in my mind, now more than ever, this generation uh, could benefit, not could, will benefit from a story like yours because people need to hear the stories of, okay, you fall down, but you get back up.
Yeah,
You don't stay at ground level forever. Okay, I fell down. Now I'm ready to get back up. I'm ready to try again.
yeah,
Frank Sinatra sang a song. Let me try again. And
yeah,
yeah, yeah, don't give up hope. Uh, I know you mentioned AGT in the open, but what was that like? When I was writing up your script for last night, I'm thinking, out of all the things I want to talk to Landau about, I want to talk to him about AGT. What was that like? Because people think, oh, you're just there for so many months, but no, you went to auditions, to the I can't think of the round, not cutouts, but
right.
before live, and then you went to live. So what was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. Like I said, when I first signed up, I signed up online and I waited for a confirmation email for about 4 weeks. And this was 2010 actually. And I waited and waited and waited. And then they gave me a confirmation email and then they told me to wait on a call. And at the time, me and my ex at the time, we were like separated. So I had to keep going back to her mom's house to check my emails because my mom wouldn't get the internet. You know what I'm saying? She would not get the internet, Jacob, for nothing. I kept telling her, Mom, you gotta get the game up. Like, you have to get the internet. Everything is going through the internet. She's like, I ain't in all that. I don't want no internet. And I was just like, oh my God. So now I gotta keep going back and forth up here. So one particular time I'm up there checking my emails. I go downstairs to get something to drink. Phone, boom. And they call. My ex hangs the phone up on me. She hangs the phone up. They was like, hello. I think he was like, this is David Hasselhoff. I'm with America's Got Talent. We're looking for a Landau Eugene Murphy Jr. And
And
she
she,
hangs
and
she
she hung the phone up on you. I mean,
yeah,
on that,
yeah,
sorry, on that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
that's, come on. That's not,
yeah.
that's not right. Continue the story. I want to hear it. Go on.
Yes, she hangs the phone up and then they call back and they say, ma'am, please don't hang up the phone. We're looking for a Landau Eugene Murphy Jr. And so I'm downstairs on the lower level of the house and just shooting pool and I hear her screaming. So I take off running upstairs. Like, what's going on? She's like, they're on the phone, they're on the phone. It's America's Got Talent. I get on the phone and they say, hello, is this Landau? And I was like, yes. He was like, okay, this is the cast of AGT, or I can't remember if he said David Hasselhoff. But anyway, they was like, yeah, we're looking for a Landau. And I was like, this is him, I'm speaking. They was like, okay, we seen where you submitted your audition and you wanted where you submitted your application where you wanted to audition for America's Got Talent. And I was like, yes. And he was like, okay, well, you can do it in several different ways. You can go to several different states and do it, in person, or you can send in a video. Which one would you prefer? And I told them that I would rather do it in person because I wanted them to see who I was. I wanted them to see my personality, and see the type of person that I really was. I just think a video is like, okay, you think Frank Sinatra swipe, you know what I'm saying? This guy. So I just didn't think that would do it enough for me. So I predicted that I would go to New York because I knew I was going to do Frank Sinatra. And where do you start singing Frank Sinatra? New York, Las Vegas, or Chicago? And I picked New York. So I saved up all my money and I took a trip. I got on a plane and went to New York. I stayed at the Central Park Hotel or something like that. And then I went to the Jacob Javits Center to audition. I had to stand in line from like I guess it was like 5:48 in the morning, AM, all the way until like 6 p.m. And
Wow.
it was long lines, yeah. And then by the time I got into the building from 6 to like 9 or 10 o'clock at night is when I got my first audition. And when I got there, it was just a whole bunch of people practicing their stuff, and I'm just standing there in line. I got my whole idea together. I was actually going to go in as Dooney Tunes. Here, I'm gonna show you some.
Go to the bathroom. Okay.
This this right here is what I was going to go in as.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, this is the same drawing that I took to AGT, and I told them that I was because my nickname is Dooney, and that's me. My nickname is Dooney, and I sing all kind of tunes. So I was going to be Dooney Tunes, and and I went in and I had the whole concept. I was like, I'm going to start in New York. I'm going to sing Frank Sinatra. By the time I get to Vegas week, I'll do Nat King Cole or something like that. And when I get back to Hollywood, I could do Marvin Gaye or the Temptations or, Stevie Wonder or something like that, and then end on some Michael Jackson and then finish with My Way if I make it all the way through. But I didn't have any plans on making it all the way through. I just really wanted to just get on TV because I feel like if I got on television, somebody on a cruise ship would call me and I would be like that guy on the Love Boat, just singing, for the rest of my life. Or somebody with a recording studio would call me and I would get a record deal. So it was just all about getting on television, getting that 15 minutes of fame. But I never thought it would go as far as it went. So once I got there, like I said, I stood in all those lines. About 9 o'clock at night, they separated me from everybody else. It was like they put the solo acts in one room. They put the solo acts with instruments in another room. They put the dangerous acts in these rooms. They put the group acts over here, and I went in a room with solo singer acts. And when I walked in, they had an X on the floor with a piece of tape. It was just like a regular conference room. It wasn't nothing fancy. It didn't have an AGT logo, nothing. It was two people sitting behind a desk. One of those little fold-out table desks. They had a whole bunch of papers, I guess, all our contracts, because we had these contracts, confidentiality contracts that we had to sign and turn in once we got, to the screening. And once I gave them that, we all walked in this room and there was a row of chairs along the wall. And I sat in the last seat because I wanted to go last because I wanted to see how everybody was going to do their thing. And in the contract, it said you had 90 seconds to perform and you can bring your instrumental to whatever song you're going to, sing, a 90-second instrumental. So I did all of that. I had the CD and everything. So I'm sitting there and they called me first. And when I get up, I hand them my CD and it was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. We don't have the sound system right now because they're all British. I'm trying to do my best British accent.
Oh, what's her name? Sharon Osbourne?
Sharon Osbourne, yeah. Everybody in there is British. Like all of them were British. So they're all like, no, we don't have a sound system here for you right now. So would you mind just waiting? And then we'll get the sound system down here. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So that gave me the opportunity to actually sit and watch everybody. So I watched everybody get up and do their audition, like everybody that was singing in the competition. So I'm sitting there watching, and I noticed that everybody that stood up there, they all had good voices, but they lacked confidence. It was like they were standing up there, they were playing with their hair. Somewhere over the rainbow, way fidgeting in their pockets, playing, twisting their shirt. They were doing all kind of like little scary things. Like, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, she's got a good voice, but she's scared to death. Like, she's not even lifting her head up. She's not convincing. So I'm watching the judge's reaction. I'm watching the look on their face, and they're just kind of like, they're listening, and they'll look up at her and put their head down and write some more stuff on the paper. And I was like, I don't want them to do that to me when I get up there. I need them to pay attention. So they was like, well, okay, that was the last person. Oh, we got one more, Landau. You can come back up here. Oh, that's right. We got to get the sound system for you. I was like, don't worry about it. I'll do it a cappella. That's okay. And he was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'll do it a cappella. Don't worry about it. So I got up there. He's like, okay, let's see what you got. And I started, you know, I would sacrifice anything come what might for the sake of a high air in spite of the warning voice. Because this night it beats out yells in my hair. I started singing it just like that, like dancing and moving, and the whole room lit up. Like everybody in the room was like, oh my God. Everybody, all the judges, they didn't look at their papers, not like one time they was focused on me, just right on me. And I was like, yeah, and I captivated them. And it was just like, oh my God. It was like, this is brilliant. It was like, where are you from? And I was like, man, I'm from Logan, West Virginia. They was like, are you serious? Like, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 35. They was like, no way. You look 20. There's no way you're 35 years old. Like, where have you been all your life? Where have you been? Like, oh my goodness. And he was like, is this a joke? And I was like, no, it's not a joke. I was like, I say Frank Sinatra, but I do all kind of genres of music. Just give me one shot. And he was like, oh my God, that's amazing. He was like, okay, well, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Landau, for coming in here and audition. And if we decide to pick you, you will get a call, around May. If you don't receive a call, you will not be on the show. And then they was like, thank you all. So we all start walking out of the room. And something hit me in my head. I was like, no, man, this is not the way it's supposed to be. Like, it wasn't supposed to go this way. I just talked to God in my bedroom. It was not supposed to happen like this. And on the way out the door, I was like, I'm gonna save all my money to come down here for them to tell me that and tell me to go back home. Like, no, I'm not going home like this. And on the way out the room, I started singing Countryside of Life by Wet Willie. You can have your buildings all your heavy arithmetic. I don't need no crowded streets, some city skill tricks. I just need to be someplace where I can move around. Look down at my toes and I can still see the ground. Give me that countryside of life. I started singing that on the way out. And on the way out, they was like, oh my gosh, Landau, come back here, please. And I turned around and everybody's like, ooh. So I walked back and he was like, what all can you do? I was like, I can do anything. I can sing any genre of music. Just give me a shot at this. He was like, you know what? He said, if you do exactly what you just did for me, I think you got a good shot at this. He said, I want you to go out there in the hallway and sit and wait. And I'm going to get some people to come and get you. And they're going to take you down to the main room. There's going to be the AGT sign. There's going to be the real X on the floor. There's going to be a lot of microphones and cameras. Don't be afraid. Just go in this room and do exactly what you just did here for me. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna let you down. And he gave me a fist bump. He said, now go outside and wait. I'm gonna run the rest of these people through these auditions. We got a lot of people. And I was like, yeah, I've been here since 5 o'clock this morning. Like, and then he was like, yes, I know. So just give me a break and we'll get to you shortly. So I sit out there and waited and waited and waited. And by the time I looked up, it was nobody left in the building but me and like 3 or 4 other people. And so then the stage people came with the headsets on. They was like, man, are you Landau? And I was like, yeah. And they was like, follow me. I got up and I followed them into this room, me and these 3 other guys. It was a little kid, a rapper, and me. And they took us in this room, and it was the main producer of the show, which is a lady. She's blonde haired, very British. And she was like sitting way off the stage in the dark, but I could see her silhouettes, but I couldn't actually see her face. The lights are like really bright. I'm just standing there like, what? This is great. And it was like, okay, what is your name and what are you gonna do for us? And I was like, my name is Landau Eugene Murphy Jr. and I'm gonna sing. And it's like, okay, go ahead, sing as loud as you can, because there's like a big cone microphone at the edge of the stage. It looked like a cone. It was like pointing like a triangle, and it was pointed right at me. And it was like, sing as loud as you can. So I started singing again real loud. I would sacrifice anything come what it might for the sake of the hallelujah, in spite of the warning voice of the midnight, and repeats how it yells in my ear. Don't you know, you little fool, you never can win. Why not use your mentality? Get up, wake up to reality. And each time I lose the thought of you, makes me stop just before I begin. Because I've got you. I did that whole thing, and everybody was like, oh my God, they did it again. Like, what in the bloody hell is going on in here? Is this a joke? I mean, is that your real? I don't understand. And I was just like, yeah, this is what I do. And it was just like, no way. And she was like, you know what I want you to do? I want you to go home, lock yourself in your room, and never come out until we send you your ticket because you have just made it on the show. And I was like, wow. So I went home, couldn't tell nobody what I did because of the confidentiality contract. So I had to just like kind of duct tape myself, duct tape my mom. I was just like,
That's
you
not
know,
shade everybody, not say anything to anybody. Like,
right.
yeah.
Couldn't say anything to anybody. And then like after that, maybe about a month later, they sent me a plane ticket to come back out for the actual taping of the audition. And that's when everybody saw me stick the gum in my pocket, and crying on stage. And I was crying because my whole life people have always told me that I would never be anything, or I was too ugly, or was too skinny, or I couldn't sing, or you can't dance, you can't sing. I mean, so many negative people. And so I felt like I let myself down by actually listening to those comments and believing it. I believed in those comments so much that it took me 35 years to get on the stage that I was supposed to be in on a long time. Since I was a kid, I was supposed to be there, but I was always afraid because of the people around me telling me that I didn't have the talent or the looks or all the qualities to actually be there. But AGT changed that. When I walked out there, I had nothing to lose. And I think it was the whole process of God taking everything that I believed in away from me. It was just like, okay, you got all these furniture, you got all these clothes. You think that's what you're supposed to have? No, I'm going to take that and I'm going to let somebody steal it. And then you ain't going to have nothing to lose. So you ain't going to have to do nothing but go and use the gifts that I gave you. And that's what happened, and it was just like, wow. It's like, okay, now I get it. So that's why you see the tears when I was on stage. I couldn't hold my tears back because I felt all of that hit me all at once. It's like my whole life flashed in front of my eyes. And I said to myself, I'll never listen to somebody else ever again. I'll always follow my own heart and believe in myself from this moment on. And I've been doing it ever since because that moment showed me that I can do anything that I want to do. I can be what I want to be. I can actually achieve my goals as long as I work hard and put my mind to it. Like, and then going back to high school and getting my high school equivalent, I never thought that I could achieve that. And in high school, I wasn't a dumb kid. I was just so far out of the classroom. Like my mind was somewhere else. I was thinking of how I was going to earn a living or what was my next meal going to be, or it was just I didn't think I needed to know who discovered America. You know what I'm saying? But that's the curricula that they give us, and we have to follow those rules. And so I went back, and I basically passed it all on common sense. Life experiences. The hardest part of it was algebra because I forgot that there's numbers and alphabets mixed together.
Oh, now trust me, I went through that in high school. And you gotta do Landau, you gotta do A B C D E F G just to
Yeah,
get the answer.
yeah, like it was like, and then I realized in algebra, a lot of people fail to realize in math is that you have to know the definition of the words to solve the problems because it could say what's the sum of x equals 7.
Right,
But if you don't know what sum means, then you don't know how to begin to write the answer out.
right.
So it's right, what's the product of this or what's the sum of that? So I had to go back and learn all these definitions of these words, and then I ended up passing it, man. But I'm so thankful. And like I said, as far as AGT goes, after doing that whole audition and putting the gum in my pocket, I made it to the Vegas rounds now. So I get to the Vegas round. This is the cut week. This is the week where they're starting to cut all the contestants. Now, mind you, I got everybody has a producer. Everybody has like this special producer or like an agent on the show, but mine never showed up until after Vegas week. And I didn't understand it because I would see everybody else, rehearsing with their producer. And I would just be sitting in the corner by myself like this, wondering when my producer gonna show up. And he never did until like, you know, Vegas week. And then he finally showed up. Was like, "Hi, I'm your producer." And I was like, "Where you been?" He was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I got so many other acts." And I was like, "Oh, don't worry about it." He asked me, "Did I need anything?" And I was just like, "No." He's like, "You need any stage time for rehearsal or anything?" And I was like, "No," because I didn't want to overthink it. I like doing stuff like the way God gives it to me. I don't want to sit and think about how to sing and walk down the steps. I just want to do it, And if I fall, it's going to be the most comedic moment in my life, but I'm going to make it so funny and so happy that you're not even going to know that I failed. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I do everything on spontaneity. It's like, I want to just be who I am in the moment. I don't want to think about it. So that's why I don't rehearse. And I don't, I'll do a sound check, but I don't rehearse what's going to happen when I'm on stage. Because when you think about it, it's like when I was playing basketball in my life. Whenever I said, I'm gonna score 30 points tonight, I never scored 30 points. I would score, 5 or 10 points, and I would be like, why didn't I score 30 points? Because I always tried to predict it, but when I just went out there and played the game and let the game come to me, I would score 30, 40 points a game. Easy. But I just never, so I use that same concept in my entertainment life. It's just like, I don't think about it. And so it's just like during Vegas week, everybody's getting cut and everybody's getting closer to me now because everybody's getting cut. And I'm just watching everybody go home. Like, wow, I'm still here. And then we make it to the live rounds in LA. They put us in the Sofitel. By the time I got to the live rounds, I'm semi-famous. So I'm walking through Beverly Hills, trying to walk across the street to the Beverly Center. It's like a big mall. And I was wanting to walk in there, and I was at the Sofitel right across the street in Beverly Hills. I walk across the street, and I caused like a 6-car pileup. It was like, hey, it's the Black Frank Sinatra.
Of course.
So I was like, this is crazy, man. It was like this guy, like, yeah, he was in like it was like a couple of rich cars too, man. It was the guy who crashed was actually in a triple black Range Rover. It was beautiful.
Nice cars.
Yeah, and he hit the back of another like Mercedes or something, and somebody hit him. And I just stopped like, and he didn't get out of his car. I was like, oh my God, I tore up my car. He got out of his car, he opened his door, and he was like, hey, it's you, the Black Frank Sinatra. And I was like, what? It was like, man, we love you, bro. And I was just like, thanks. And I just got out the way and let them handle their accident. And so I'm sitting there, and by the time, everything starting to wind down, and it's getting down to like the top 10, top 8, we're all still standing at the Sofitel. And by then, the doormen knew who I was. They knew me by my name. It's like Landau, they opened the door for me. I would sit down in the Sofitel and get a cowboy ribeye with the bone in, sauteed spinach and mashed potatoes. And I would order this like every day. So I ate that the whole time I was there. And then, as the show kept going, I got down to the top 4. So it was me, Pop Life, Anna Graceman, and the Silhouettes. And that was the top 4. That was the last people that was standing on that stage. And then when I went up against Anna Graceman, Nick Cannon tricked me. You remember? He was like, oh, Landau's going home. But it didn't bother me that I was going home. At least I thought I was anyway. So if you go back and watch the tape, you see me go, thank you. Because I just wanted to get out of there. I didn't want to I didn't have no intentions on winning the show. And so it was a blessing just to get to that point. But I knew once I went home, I could do whatever I wanted to do without being under that contract for a year. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, yes, I get to go home. But then he was like, nope, you're both going through. And I was like, what? And then everybody was like, oh man. So I ended up going through. And then the next round, they ended up cutting her. She went home. And now it's just down to Pop Life, me, and Silhouettes. Silhouette sends Pop Life home. That's with Kalani. Kalani's a megastar right now, but she was the lead singer of that group Pop Life at the time.
Oh, I think because I watched the season you were on, I remember you and I remember Silhouettes. I'm not sure if I remember her, but I think if you described him, I would remember who she was.
Yeah, she was with the little the African American kids. They had afros and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and they sung like a whole lot. They sung like she sung that Adele Gibbons song, uh, "Rolling in the D." She
Yeah.
sung that song, and she's a megastar now. Kalani is huge. She's way bigger than she's bigger than AGT right now. Like she's selling out arenas, like in stadiums. She's bigger than Madonna. She's huge. Like this girl is
Wow,
phenomenal.
I'll have to look her up.
Yeah, look up Kalani. It starts with a K. I think it's Khalania or something like that. Kalani.
Can you send it to me if you find it?
Yeah, I'll send it to you on Facebook. I'll find it as soon as we get off here. But yeah, she's huge now, man. And she got videos. Nick Cannon actually signed her to his record label right after the show. And then she blew up from there. They did a song together where Nick Cannon rapped and she sung the hook or something like that. And then she blew up from there. She's huge. Anna Graceman is in Tennessee, getting bigger and bigger. The Silhouettes are still doing their thing. Those girls are all grown up and going to college, and they got a whole nother group of Silhouettes now, and they're still doing their thing. I kind of keep in touch with them too, and it's just been great. Pop Life, the rest of the group, you could see them like when you watch the Soul Train Music Awards. They're basically the house band back there playing. You'll see those kids back there, and they're all grown up too right now, but they play in big time bands like for the award shows, things like that. And they were also Raphael Sadiq's nephew and from Tony, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, those were their kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's their kids. That's Raphael Sadiq and Dwayne. Show us my name is Dwayne. From Tony.
Yeah, yeah.
That's their kids, man. So they're very talented. They're all like doing their thing right now. You can but you have to just pay attention. Like I said, if you watch the BET Awards or the Soul Train Music Awards, look in the back behind the curtain. That curtain that you can also see through. You'll see those kids on the piano and on the bass. And they always playing like these kids are amazing. So it's just been a fantastic ride for me. After winning, and I got that whole record deal with Sony, Columbia. Steve Tyrell produced my first record titled "That's Life," and we did it at Capitol Records. So I got to go into the room where Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, Julie Garner, like everybody recorded their albums, and all that history is just in that room. All the old microphones, all the stuff is still the same as it was when they were there. And then after that, I did my second album, which was a Christmas album. I dedicated all the proceeds to the Children's Home Society, which is a charity of mine where, we help get abused children into better homes and get them adopted and things like that. And then my third album was titled Landau, and we did that one at Capitol Records too. And I did a whole big promo out of Capitol Records for that one. And now I'm on my fourth album, which I recorded live in Caesar's Palace. and this pandemic held it back. But right now you can preview it if you go to LandauMurphyJr.com. And I wrote a #1 selling book. I'll show you that book. My book that I wrote. I'm working on my second book now, but this is the first book that came out. It's called Landau, From Washing Cars to Hollywood Stars. And it was a #1 selling book on Amazon. It got the Mother's Choice Award, the Indie Award. So I got a lot of medals for that. Also won the Toya Award, which was the 10 Outstanding Young American Award. Not a lot of people got that award. Just me, um, um, Bill Clinton, Elvis Presley.
Oh wow, among big names.
Yeah, and I think Michael Jackson. But I still have that award too. I mean, if you want me to get it, I'll go get it, show it to you.
I do have another question. How
Okay.
did you meet uh, Damiani?
Damiani was an assistant for my first album producer, Steve Tyrell. Stephen Tyrell was in Father of the Bride, and he also produced albums for Rod Stewart, Barbra Streisand, Mary J. Blige, and things like that. He's like one of the producers at Capitol Records. And he's also a movie guy. So it was just like but Damiani was basically like a roadie for him. He was one of his assistants. And we did a show, me and Steve Tyrell did a show at Catalina Jazz Club in California off Sunset Strip. And while I was doing the show, I met Damiani. And I was just like, he was just like, man, it's cool that you do that. He's like, I do that type of music too. And I was just like, yeah. And then we sit there and we kicked it for a while. And I was like, we're going to be friends. And ever since then, I don't think he believed me, but I just stayed in touch with him and we just kept doing what we do, and then
Yeah.
snowballed it, huh?
Do what you two do, and that's what you two do. You make music, you have fun.
Yeah. And he's just around the same age as me. Like I'm 46, he's 46 right now. I think he's 47 now, but he's 1 year older than me. He's like 1 month and a couple of days older than me or something like that.
Yeah.
1 year and a couple of days. It's like 1 year and a couple of days older than me, something like that. But and it's we just vibe, man. Everywhere we go, we look out for each other. When he has shows, he invites me out. When I have shows, I invite him out. So we keep each other, relevant. And that's what you want to do. You want to stay in the game, and always bring good music to, you know, the people who paved the way for us to have this great music. It's for the great grandparents of the world. It's also for the newer generation to show them that you don't have to take off your clothes or do something crazy to, be who you are. So I just think it's a touch of class all the way around. And I love doing this genre because, no one shoots at me after the show.
And I mean, yeah, I saw you at the well, the last time we were all together at the in Cape May, and you
Yeah,
did Billy Preston's "Nothing from Nothing," and I was
yeah,
here just dancing because that. I mean, you've done a lot of classic songs, and that's a good tune.
yeah. I love singing that song. Dave, that was a challenge because Dave, we made a bet. Like if he could play it, I'd have to sing it. And Dave learned the piano playing that song along with Just Once.
Oh, with James Ingram.
James Ingram song. Yeah, that's how Dave learned to play the piano. He was like, if I play these songs, then you have to sing them. I was like, bet. And lo and behold, about a year later, he knew how to play those songs. He knew how to play the piano. and I had to learn those songs. So that's how those came about. It was a great experience, you know.
Wow, wow. I didn't. I knew you two were close. I didn't know how close you really were.
Oh man, we stay together all the time. And he's been on my whole Christmas tour. He's taken me on some of his shows with him. I've been out to Burbank and stayed at his house. We've done that's where we recorded Happy Holidays. We recorded that in his garage in Burbank. Yeah, and so it's just like
Yeah,
we're always recording stuff together.
yeah, and I can't wait till this pandemic's over and we can all work together again. Cause we had some fun times in.
Yes, we got plenty and more to have. We got plenty and more to have.
Oh
I think my
yeah.
phone is about to die though. I
What
think
you
my
say?
phone. I think my phone is about to die.
Okay, I was gonna ask you one more question if
Go ahead. Go ahead.
the battery holds, and then we'll be be done. I know you. I was just gonna ask you about your kids, Logan. I saw he did a feature in the
Christmas tour.
yeah, that was cute.
Yeah, he's fun. He loves to be, on stage. It's not even forced. He just loves. He knows what his dad does. And when I'm at home, I'm Landau Dooney Daddy. And when I put on my suit, I'm Landau Eugene Murphy Jr. That's the way he
That's the way he sees it.
Yeah. It's just amazing. He knows once I put that suit on, it's time to do a show. And so I had him there to watch it, but he was just so excited. I was like, "Do you want to do this?" And he was like, "Yeah, Dad." And I was like, "All right." And that's the first time he's ever been on camera. That's the first time he's ever been on stage with me like that. And he lit it up. I mean, he loves doing it. And so it's just like, I'm just going to encourage that in him as much as I can without, forcing it. I just want him to be who he is. But I'm also putting the effort, same effort that I wish that my parents put in with me when I was doing stuff
Right.
as a kid. So it's all about seeing what's around you, seeing the blessings that God gives you, and He's one of my biggest blessings.
Yeah, and that's just it. God gives us blessings, and we have to be blessed every day, every chance we get.
Yeah.
This was fun catching up.
Yes, sir, Jacob. And as soon as we get off here, I'll find Kalani's information for you and I'll send it to you.
Thank you, Landau.
Hey, you're welcome, Jacob. Bye bye.
See you later. For my South Jersey journey, this was Jacob Hackett for Landau Murphy Jr. saying see you next time.